And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Welcome back, Brandon Rhymes, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller, Williams Realty, and we got Mark Haye in studio. He's our expert contributor for all things financial advisor, 21st Century Financial Group, and a top executive in his space, highly respected in his space here. 5147 Marine Parkway, a beautiful property, great investment opportunity from the Platinum MVP team at Keller, Williams Realty. This is a investment opportunity, 2,600 square foot building on Marine Parkway in Newport Richey. You got 12 parking spots, currently separated into 2 units, can be converted into 4 separate units as well. So you got income potential there. 5147 Marine Parkway, Newport Richey. Great location, great opportunity to own real estate in Tampa Bay. We got a single family home at 1007 Osprey Court in Tarpon Springs, waterfront, beautiful property here in Tarpon Springs, Pinellas County, almost 2,200 square feet, vaulted ceilings overlooking the water, granite countertops, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Get a walk-in shower as well at 1007 Osprey Court, Tarpon Springs, Florida, and granite countertop, stainless steel, beautiful home right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. And you can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, we got Mark Haye back in studio. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Yeah, man. Pleasure. And so 2023, they're raising the limits for retirement plans.
You got it. So they're raising, and people think it's a good thing, but it's because inflation is so high that they have to raise income limits and contribution limits. So the good news is income limits are going to be going up a little over 7%. So if you fall in the 24% tax bracket, which I think is a sweet spot right now, you're going to be going up 7%, meaning your income can increase by 7%, and you can stay in that tax bracket across the board as well. Now, we know that in 1/1/2026, that tax bracket is eliminated. It's going to be 28, automatic. It goes right to 28. So I tell people all the time, if you're really thinking about doing conversions into Roth IRAs, you really got to take advantage of it now. We're down to the last 3 years of this. And if Congress does nothing, which we always say and joke that they're good at doing nothing, we're certainly going to see a tax increase on 1/1/26. So the good news is that with the income increasing on those limits 7%, that just means you can move more from a IRA into a Roth without occurring a step up in your tax bracket.
And realizing that income now.
Correct.
Right? Because you're pushing that. The idea is you want to move that further down the line when you're in your retirement golden years and you're not in as high a tax bracket.
Yeah,
right?
And if you have a large IRA or 401k that's going to be completely taxable in retirement, we tell people, you should really start thinking about converting to a Roth now while taxes are low. People may not feel it, but it is low right now. And so we tell people with the increase of 7%, that just means we can move 7% more into a Roth without incurring a higher tax bill.
Right.
So it's advantage to take advantage of that. But we know that at 1/1/26, all stops, income brackets all go up, the tax brackets, and you're going to be paying 5-10% more automatically without doing anything, which we think is going to have to be more than that, but that's just automatic.
Just what we needed.
Exactly.
Something else to go against the American people, the middle-class, hardworking people. You got your government printing money. By the way, what's the total sent to Ukraine now? How many billions and billions have we sent over there?
I mean, Ukraine is silly, and I think that FTX crypto that just went under this week, shows a lot of how corrupt. It's not really about a war. It's about money laundering, and we kind of can follow the money and say, okay, so we get the money to Ukraine, we get the money to FTX. FTX turned around and gave it to the Democratic Party, so it's like, it doesn't look too legit here.
Yeah, exactly, because, by the way, you have a Democrat president, Democrat House, Democrat Senate. That's where the money went. There was this TikToker guy that I'm going to play this real quick here. You can kind of see what he's saying. The story of Sam Bankman-Fried and the FTX meltdown. This is a
Nerds stole billions of dollars from customers based on a company that behind the scenes was a complete house of cards. This moron, Sam Bankman-Fried, was made out to be an absolute god in the crypto world. He was reportedly worth $16 billion.
Anyway, so that's just a quick clip. Had houses across the globe, and he was on the cover of Time magazine. But there's a couple of screenshots that we've got also. I'll ask Alex, our producer, to put that up there. FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried bankrolled the Democratic Party's midterm war chest to the sum of $40 million using funds from his now bankrupt crypto exchange. Meanwhile, blameless customers have likely lost billions in savings. This scandal everyone should be talking about. That's from DC Drano. That's his opinion, not mine. It's alleged. We're only asking questions. The next one that we have also. So this is Seth Dillon, also from DC Drano. Rogan O'Hanley, I think is his name. So Biden gave loads of money to Ukraine, who gave loads of money to FTX, who gave loads of money to Democrats. Sounds like a potentially massive scandal, and the media will have absolutely no interest in covering it. Mark Haye, your take on that?
Well, if you look at that number of 40 million going back to the Democratic Party, okay, well, how much did we send to Ukraine? 40 million?
Right.
50 million is right there. I mean, it's kind of interesting that the numbers are slowly matching up of what came back, So, I mean, they call it conspiracy theorists, but I don't know, man. You just follow the money and nothing makes sense, and then all of a sudden, now it makes sense.
Yeah, and you just have the dual systems of DOJ, FBI, raiding Mar-a-Lago, but then Clinton can have hers, and it's on and on. The Biden laptop, but no, they're not looking at this. You see it with elections. The Democrat allegedly wins after weeks and weeks or a little bit of elaboration, but days and days and days of counting. They're counting the votes. They're counting the votes, and then all of a sudden, the Democrat edged out the Republican for Arizona, mayor, governor.
Yeah, and it's a little frightening to me. I don't know if anybody follows that as much as I have. I've watched a lot of it, and I think DeSantis did a good job with election integrity, getting rid of mail-in voting, and having a task force and actually arresting people that are doing this fraudulent activity. And we saw, we have 22 million people here in Florida, and we were done in 20 minutes. And here's the winner, and
exactly.
Came over. Miami-Dade's now Republican. Okay, great. But then you go to Arizona, and they got 7 million people, and here we are a week out, and we're like, we're still counting. It's like, it just doesn't seem right.
And it was the same thing too. Like Hobbs stayed in the basement, the old Joe Biden theory style, and then but you had this awesome, charismatic Carrie Lake that was all in the press, but I think the problem is you have so many rhinos that are not fully on board with the MAGA candidates. And, for example, McConnell was spending so much money in Alaska to help Murkowski, and these totally didn't, help out Carrie Lake. And then it gets to a point where you're fighting your own team, and you got to fight the other team, which is super strong, and they're bending every rule, it seems.
Yeah, and it's sad because I think that Carrie in Arizona would have helped.
She would be awesome.
I think she would have helped just that state, the country, and I think something needs to be done. You can't just go and just have that, and everybody feels kind of the same way. Like, well, what's the point of even voting anymore? And you hear that because that's ultimately what they want you to do and think. Is just
that's ultimately the psyop. It's a psychological op that they play. We got Mark Haye here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, 21st Century Financial Group. And folks, you got to reach out to the show hotline. We'd love to put you in touch with him. And you just heard Mike Murphy as well. Reach out. We'll put you in touch with either one of these fine guys. 813-917-1894, 813-917-1894. Mark Haye is our expert contributor for all things financial. And if you have questions about your current retirement plan, Mark can do an audit for you. He can talk to you about what you got currently. Also, Mark, topical is the Social Security has been raised.
Yeah, so the Social Security is going to be increased 8.7% for 2023, which means the highest income that you're going to get Social Security right now per month is $4,559. So that's taking at $870. That's working your whole life and putting it into the system, and so that would generate you $55,000 a year of income at that at that current level that we're at now. We're relatively young. We're in our 40s. I just don't think Social Security can be sustained, moving forward for our generation. Which means I think it's imperative that people take ownership of their own lives and retirement and saving. Because we all know that Social Security's out of money by the end of this decade. So what do? You got to raise taxes. You got to cut. You can't have.
Well, they'll just do another pandemic. They'll come in and kill the old people.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm happy that they're getting 8.7 raise. Don't get me wrong. You're on a fixed income. You're in retirement, and inflation is far more than 9%. It's crazy when they put out that inflation's 8% or 8.5%, and then you look at eggs are 60%, and airlines 85%, and gasoline's 200, and how do you get 8?
How do you get that?
Yeah. How do you come down to that number?
Yeah.
So it's it's interesting when you look at all the what's actually happening out there. But I am happy to see that they are getting an 8.7. But that just means that inflation is that high and it's at a 40-year record as of right now.
Well, what scares me too, sorry to interrupt. Continue.
No, just saying. So it's just frightening to me that the real numbers are not being posted.
Right. Yeah, real numbers. What is the net effect of that? What's the effect of that? My paycheck coming out, and what really scares me too is what's happening now in the real estate business, because real estate is such a driver. If you look at the mortgage company, title company, insurance agents, the home repair guys, the flippers, everybody that's coming in there. I mean, the screen rooms, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, Lanai, pool companies, all those different companies that are predicated on that sale of a home happening, that interior designer, those, the list goes on and on, carpet, flooring, drywall. You've got all these people that are impacted, but they continue to raise rates. They continue to raise the interest rates. And what's going to happen if they send the real estate into a tailspin? And really, do they care? They don't care. They've got their own little game playing at a high level up there in D.C.
Exactly. And I think that we're fortunate to have DeSantis be reelected, talking about real estate.
Big time.
I do think that he's probably one of the number one realtors in Florida. I joke about that before, but he brings a lot to it because he keeps Florida free and keeps it tax-free from the income. And so it's just, I think it's very good that he got elected again. I think it's going to help our real estate market because I do believe that Florida is a good place to be in. And I think Tampa Bay has been underappreciated, undervalued for so long that I think that real estate is going to continue to rise.
Absolutely.
Maybe not crazy like it has been in the last few years, which is unprecedented, but I just don't see it flopping here like it would be maybe in New York or Jersey or Chicago or Illinois, California. Just because I think we have the right person in place for another 4 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at when you think about migration, you've got the migration that was happening for all these months, right? And then a lot of times they were predicting this red wave, and you start thinking, well, it was a little bit of a red wave, not as big as most people thought, right? And it kind of goes back to what I said earlier: the rhinos kind of self-sabotaging on purpose. The McConnells and the
Paul Ryan
Cheney,
put his head up now.
Ryan and some of these guys, Pence. And then what happens is, so you've got so many people that have already moved from New York to Florida, from Michigan to Florida. They're down here now. You saw the increase in DeSantis's win, 20 points, right? 20 plus points. So if you follow that logic, what's left in those other states? The hardcore blue dogs that are going to vote Democrat, even if it's a Fetterman guy. Look at Fetterman. How bad of a candidate was that guy?
Now they're talking about he should run for presidency. It's like
that's ridiculous.
I don't know. Put him up there. Put him up there.
Please do.
Please do it. Because I know we're arguing about Donald Trump, we're arguing about DeSantis being a president, but you know what? Either one of those guys are good. I'll take either one.
Yep.
I hate to see us fighting inside of our own party, but I could see why it happened. Just like you mentioned, some of the rhinos, and here they are attaching to DeSantis, and it's like, I hope DeSantis makes the right move here and just be the governor, be patient.
Be patient. That's what I hope. Yeah, be patient. Let's take your time.
Yeah.
Take your turn.
But I do think that Governor DeSantis, putting in the election integrity laws helped.
Yeah.
I think it helped.
Absolutely.
And I think that 4 years ago, it was very close with Andrew Gillum, and I got nervous. But this year, it was a runaway, and it should have been.
Right.
And to me, it's just like, why can't every state implement these? Shouldn't it just be normal? Like, shouldn't we just not have mail-in votes and you have an ID? And can't we just register all our votes and not tell people, the line's too long and you can't vote today? And it's
right. Yeah, exactly. And that's why in Arizona that that's exactly what happened. They got to run the ballot multiple times, and then you wonder how many people move from California to Arizona and then continue to vote the way to run from the state that they. That's the thing that keeps coming back to people. So you start thinking, like, what's the net effect of that? What are you trying to do here? You're gonna turn Arizona into the. By the way, California. I got an email from the ALCJ. That's Jay Sekulow and his team. They do a show on Salem around 7 o'clock, I think it is. Got an email from them saying that California, they either had just done it or were going to vote to make infanticide legal. 28 days after birth, they can kill the babies, no questions asked. That's Planned Parenthood.
On-demand abortion, which is crazy to me.
Yeah. Even after the birth, though. That to me is disgusting.
But I just have a hard time believing that California voted Newsom and Pelosi and all them back in. It's just, It's hard for me to believe
It is.
that.
It really is. When you look at the, Afghanistan, you look at inflation, you look at the open border, veteran issues, all the different issues that you have. The different Ukraine we just talked about, all the different issues, police, crime. But anyways, let's take a quick break. More with Mark Haye, financial expert extraordinaire here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, 21st Century Financial Group, and he is your financial advisor, and he will give you a review as well if you have a current plan in place. We're going to ask him a little bit more specifics on how he can do a review for you when we come back. Plus, we have our feel-good story of the day. This is a good feel-good story. 14-year-old crowned America's top scientist for headphones that treat ear infections with blue light. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. Mark Haye in the house, 21st Century Financial Group. Coming up just a minute, we're going to talk a little bit more about that review process. If you have any type of statements you'd like to have Mark review, we're going to talk about that. We always like to feature our real estate listings live on air. Keller Williams Sports and Entertainment Division, Luxury Division, Commercial Division, and a top 100 team here in Tampa Bay, Keller Williams Realty. 3879 Nighthawk is another one of our beautiful listings. This one's in Palm Harbor. Nighthawk Drive in Palm Harbor in Pinellas County, 1,300 square feet, got a community pool, open concept floor plan, large backyard, fenced-in backyard, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, get a walk-in shower as well. Great opportunity at 3879 Nighthawk Drive, Palm Harbor, Florida, Pinellas County, one of our hot real estate listings from the Platinum MVP team. 9031 122nd Avenue is a $3.9 million listing. This is a land development deal. So attention builders, developers, 9031 122nd Avenue in Tampa. This is a great opportunity. You got great visibility from I-75. It's at Fowler Avenue and I-75. So development land deal right off of I-75 in Tampa, close to Temple Terrace. Great opportunity here in Tampa Bay. You can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
I'm walking on sunshine. Wow, and it's starting to feel good. Tell me something good.
All right, here's our feel-good story about America's top young scientist. A 14-year-old in San Diego, California, was named the grand prize winner of this year's 3M Young Scientist College Challenge and the nation's premier middle school science competition. Leanne Fan developed Phison headphones, a low-cost headphone device that uses machine learning and blue light technology therapy to detect and treat mid-ear infections in children, potentially preventing up to 60% of hearing loss in children. The world sees 700 million cases of mid-ear infections and nearly 21,000 deaths annually. Many of those impacted are children in underprivileged populations without medical access and or health care. Diagnosis and treatment are often difficult. Leanne's invention aims to provide an antibiotic-free, low-cost option to detect and treat any mid-ear infection. The incoming high school freshman won a $25,000 cash prize, a special destination trip, and the prestigious title of America's Top Young Scientist. She is planning to use the money from the prize money to start the patent process for her headphones. There you have it. Feel good story of the day. I love that one. That was a great find, Alex. That's very cool. All right, Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group. Talk to me about that review, man. How because I think the thing is people are always wondering, hey, am I doing the right thing? And if you're doing something, if you're off just a little bit, like if you're getting hit on fees and it's compounding every month, every year, I mean, you could be talking about thousands of dollars of differences. Right.
And we don't charge anybody to meet with us and work with us, but it's important to meet just because things change just like they're doing in 2023. So, for example, the standard deduction is going to go from 25.9 to 27.7. All right, so 9.7% increase. It's important to know that because when you're retired and you can get that income and stay below that 27.7, that means you'll get it tax-free, you get Social Security tax-free. And so little things like that make a huge difference. And if people don't know it, and you go over that, all of a sudden now, okay, 20% tax on everything. Social Security, right, investments, income, and you just paid so much more than you should have just because you didn't know, hey, if you can keep this taxable income under here, we'll get everything else tax-free and save yourselves a ton of money in retirement. And so we tell people all the time when you're planning for retirement, are you planning your retirement or Uncle Sam's?
Right.
Because currently you're planning Uncle Sam's.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you go to retire, they can decide every single year, okay, we want to take this much from your profits. It's not really a good partnership to be in.
Yeah.
So we help people all the time, with tax strategies and retirement and tax planning, and we have CPAs on staff and estate planning attorneys. So we are very good at mitigating the taxes that are going to be in retirement.
Yeah, and that's why I love the idea for our audience just to get a review. Reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894. Just text the word review to 813-917-1894. And you look at your finances, you look at your retirement plan, you look at whatever you're putting money into. And if you're not doing anything, that's another great reason to reach out. But and you may have a great guy, great gal that you've been working with for years. But the difference is, what does it hurt to get a checkup, right? That's what I always say. In any industry, you got good, better, and best, right? So get a checkup. Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group, let them take a look and kind of do an audit for you.
Absolutely. And even if you, like you said, had planners, most people that are wealthy or to do have multiple planners because people have different ideas and different strategies and different opinions on how you should invest. So it's always good to get multiple people looking at things. Just like if you wouldn't have surgery, you're not going to go to the first person and say, "Oh, yep, you need surgery on it," and not get a second opinion.
Yeah, right. Like back surgery.
I
I hear that sometimes. Like, make sure you get a second opinion.
Yeah, you got brain surgery coming up. Well, I don't know. Maybe you don't, but I would get it checked out. It's the same thing with retirement planning. Just do due diligence. It's free, and it's certainly not going to be a waste of time.
Yeah, exactly. Because I always reference Tony Robbins a lot in his book Money Master the Game. He talked about the difference in having just a little bit of a percentage. I forgot the specifics, but he said could be the difference of paying like $30,000 for a Honda Accord or paying $300,000 for that same Honda Accord. Within a retirement plan based on the small percentages that add up over time in terms of fees and cost. Right.
That's right. Everything has a cost or a fee, and all of a sudden you look at statements and you start showing the clients, and then they're like, "Well, I didn't know we were paying that." I said, "Yeah, That's why you do it. It takes me 2 seconds, but it may take an average citizen to sit down and go, I can never figure this out. It looks like it's in Chinese to me."
Well, yeah, that's the thing is too, like with all these different funds and mutual funds and all these different 3-letter acronyms, right? You have for these investment vehicles, but in real estate, it's like people know, like, what's your percentage? Yep. Oh, are you 5, 6, 7%? What are you charging? And they kind of, most people know it's 3% for this side, 3 for this side, or however you break it up. But in the finance world, it's very confusing.
Well, it can be very confusing, but like I said, it takes us seconds to figure out what you're paying. It may take you guys hours or never, but that's just normal. Just like with your paperwork and your closing statements, you can look at it and know exactly what you're doing, and I would fumble through it and go, where am I at now?
Exactly.
What page should I be looking at?
Where's the website or social you want folks to go to?
You can actually text me at 727-804-7220 or xxifinancial.com.
Say that number one more time.
727-804-7220.
All right, good stuff. Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group, and we had Mike Murphy as well, our auto expert on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community, and we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.